Hey there chaps and chapettes, roddy.jodphurs here again. Well, last week I did say that I would be answering questions, and questions I have to answer, so let's get right to it, shall we? Just where are a penguin's knees anyway? Usually in his trousers, I would suspect, if he's in mixed company. Other than that, I think a penguin's knees are his own business. What did you do in order to be disinherited, and did it involve penguins? The answer is quite a long one, a very interesting tale of a young man, a young woman, another young man, several tins of Heinz tomato soup, the Clifton suspension bridge, an unlucky journalist, floor waxer, and most recently a super injunction, so I'm afraid I can't actually say much more than that. But what I can say is that it did not involve penguins, and I'm not entirely sure how we've gotten onto the penguin thing. Can we move away from the penguins for a bit? Leave the penguins alone? I think that would be best. Dear Roddy, what's the hardest part of looking so fantastic? Well, of course, the hardest part out of all of it, I mean, it's not easy looking this fantastic as one does. There's, of course, the costs of keeping up one's wardrobe, the importance of good daily skincare routine, the stresses of having to only travel in the dark so that one does not get mobbed by hordes of admiring fans, or worst of all, get recognized by someone who you really don't want to be recognized by. And of course, one of the most taxing things about it is generally the fact that you find it so much harder to really connect with people on a level of sincerity, because everyone thinks you're being facetious. And really, I don't understand that at all. I mean, honestly, I am gorgeous. And I don't understand why anyone would think that when I mention in a conversation of how fantastic I look, that they seem to think I'm being ironic or facetious, or they seem to take some sort of offence, and I honestly don't understand why, because all I'm doing is offering to shed a little fantasticness into their lives as well. So I would say the hardest part about looking this fantastic is having to put up with the plebs. But that's much the same with any area of life, so let's move on, shall we? Do you have any tips for anyone else in your position? Well, that's generally what the entire channel has been about. Where have you been, Sarah? I suppose specifically, if I'm being honest, the real tips that I would have for anyone who, like me, is a young man of a family who raised him with only the very, very best, and he then got into the, as I mentioned, indescribable legally incident involving the Clifton suspension bridge, the floor buffer, the two young men, the women, the monkey. Did I mention the monkey? No, there was a monkey. And all of that. If you're in that very specific circumstance where you had a legally non-descriptive incident, and you've been disinherited and your family no longer speak to you, and you're struggling to stretch out money from a terribly unfulfilling job to cover the wardrobe, the daily skincare routine, though apparently you have to pay to live in a house now, I wasn't aware of that. All of these different things, and you're desperately trying to eke out the little living that you can and stretch it across all of these things. And if your name is Roddy, and if you have a rather fetching top hat, and you have the exact same circumstances as mine, then I think the best advice I can give you is that you're fucked. Also, have you ever eaten penguin, and if so, what was it like? What is happening here? Why are we all talking about penguins? I'm confused. Have I missed something? Did I mention a penguin previously? Have I made allusions to a penguin that I have not been aware that I have made allusions to? No? We're just talking about penguins. All right then. Well, in that case, not to my knowledge have I ever eaten penguin, although I was a member of a certain rather elite and rather secret club at a certain university for the term that I was there before I decided that I would rather go travelling and went to Thailand and Jaipur and all those other places. That's neither here nor there. I was a member of this club for the brief time that I was at university. I did go to a lot of the exotic dinners that were held. Can I remember a single thing about them? No. Because, interestingly enough, along with the exotic meats that they were serving, they had found the best beverages to pair them with were somewhat exotic alcohols. There was one, I do remember, which came in a bottle shaped like a severed hand. It had a very interesting label. It didn't seem to be in any language I recognised, although one of the chaps doing European history did say there were some sort of Viking runes. I don't remember what it was called, I don't remember what it tasted like. I do remember looking at it and suddenly having the words existential void pop into my head. Then I woke up about a month later on a barge going down the Thames, so I'm not entirely sure what happened in the intervening time, but so the brief answer is I don't think I have. Although that would explain the feathers. I do not believe that it was a penguin-based alcohol. However, in addition to the time at the club in the university, I did spend another period of time doing some sort of graduate level, this is back when my father used to pull strings for me, of course. I did spend some time doing a little summer work for a certain oil company. I shan't name names, of course, but I don't believe there was any penguin-derived alcohol, but the boss did have a bit of a thing against penguins, seagulls, seals, basically any Arctic wildlife. So it's possible, I suppose. We have the final question here that I will be answering today. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Now, this is a difficult question. I've given it some thought, and my answer is that you are all terrible people. I mean, honestly, I put out a call asking for questions and this is what I get. Penguins and duck-sized horses and/or a horse-sized duck. If you must know the answer, I have seen ducks going at it around mating season. A horse-sized duck would quite likely not be interested in fighting me, especially with this sort of plumage. I have a feeling a horse-sized duck would have far more worrying intentions than simply roughing me up a bit. So, all in all, I would have to say the duck-sized horses. Although I do stand by my original answer of you are all terrible people. This has been my attempt at answering questions. I hope you found them satisfactory. I have to go and pretend that I haven't read things now. However, I will be spending the rest of the day enjoying my lovely top hat, as I'm sure you can see, and coming up with what to do for next week, because, yes, if you do have any suggestions of things you would like to see on the channel, then do comment below, share, subscribe, like the video, tell all of your friends, email me, roddy.jodphurs@gmail.com, follow me on Tumblr or on Instagram, links are in the description below, and like I said, if you have anything you would like to see from me or from this channel, then let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions, darlings. Until next week then, my friends, I will see you around, and do remember that Roddy loves you. Mwah!